black night conceals sinister deeds.
In just a minute, I'll show you the only really haunted house in the world. In just a minute, I'll show you the only really haunted house in the world. Only the ghosts in this house are glad we're here.
Are we all strangers to each other?
Only the ghosts in this house are glad we're here.
I've heard of him, but I've never met him.
I work for one of his companies, but I've never seen him.
I've never met the man either. Just a phone call. Are we all strangers to each other? I've never met the man. I've never met the man either.
He's quite wealthy, isn't he?
Millions.
He's quite wealthy, isn't he?
Millions.
He's quite wealthy. 5 wives, I believe. 5 wives, I believe.
4, I think, so far.
Good evening.
4, I think, so far.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm your host, Frederick Lauren. I'm your host. I think you all remember the bargain we made about staying all night. $10,000 apiece. $10,000 apiece. $10,000 apiece. I'm your host, Frederick Lauren. If any of you don't... $50,000 will be divided amongst... If any of you don't survive... If I should die, if any of you don't survive... $50,000 will be divided amongst the rest of you. If I should die...
He looks at Annabelle
You will be paid by my estate.
He looks at Annabelle.
You won't have a chance to change your minds later. You won't have a chance to change your minds later.
Well, if I were going to haunt anybody, this would certainly be the house I'd do it in.
Alright, welcome back. Am I working? Yes. And we are going to have a journey through a haunted house with Vincent Price. Today's stream, the samples come from the 1959 film The House on Haunted Hill, which, if it wasn't for Vincent Price, would be an entirely boring movie, and it's not a great film, but it has some fun camp in it for sure. So we've been introduced, kind of, to our characters. I think we'll hear their names more later, and the host, Mr. Lauren, who is paying them all each $10,000 to stay locked in a haunted house every night. And there's his wife, Annabelle. So anyway, I'm going to get the next group of samples set up, and just an FYI, don't think I'll be making it through the entire all the samples I have from the film today, because I have kind of a strict cutoff period at 6 p.m. But we'll see how far we get, and I hope to have many more fun, spooky sources to sample this month. So anyway, let's see what happens next on The House on Haunted Hill. One moment. I just have to load up the next samples.
psychiatrist to typist, I had a reason for inviting each guest.
No, your jealousy took care of that. No, your...
Do we have any friends?
The party was my idea until... The party was my idea until you invited all the guests. Why all these strangers? Why none of our friends? Why all these strangers? Why none of our friends?
Friends? Friends? Do we have any friends?
No, your jealousy took care of that. No, your jealousy took care of that.
I had a reason for inviting each guest. I wanted kind of a cross-section. From psychiatrist to typist. Kind of a cross-section, and from drunk to jet pilot. Now let's see if they're brave enough to earn it.
And you call...
They share one thing, they all need money. They share one thing, they all need money. Psychiatrist to typist, and from drunk to jet, and from... Now let's see if they're brave enough to earn it.
And you call this a party?
It might explode. Could be. Could be.
He aims the bottle at her.
Why do you always do that? It spoils the champagne.
He takes a bottle from an ice bucket and shakes it. He takes a bottle from an ice bucket and shakes it.
Why do you always do that? It spoils the champagne.
It might explode. It might explode.
Never does.
He aims the bottle at her.
Never does. That isn't funny, Frederick. That isn't funny, Frederick.
He aims the bottle at her.
Can you guarantee that?
That isn't funny, Frederick.
Make a good play. Make a good headline. Make a good headline. Playboy kills wife with champagne cork. cork. They share one thing, they all need money.
Your trust is so touching.
It's always good to know that.
My humor is fine, thanks.
It's always good to know that.
My humor is fine, thanks.
Could be.
And I haven't poisoned it.
It's always good to know that. It's always good to know that.
Your trust is so touching.
Would you go away for $1 million? Would you go away for $1 million? Of all my wives, you're the least agreeable.
But still alive.
Of all my wives, you're the least agreeable.
But still alive.
Would you go away for $1 million? You want it all, don't you? You want it all, don't you?
If jealousy isn't tax-free, I deserve it.
You want it all, don't you? Will you guarantee that? You want it all, don't you? Will you guarantee that? Make a good headline.
Your possessiveness is maddening. If jealousy isn't tax-free, your possessiveness is maddening. Would you go away for $1 million? Never does. Never does.
You want it all, don't you? You want it all, don't you? If I live long enough. If I live long enough.
Think so? Something you ate, the doctor said.
You remember the fun we had when you poisoned me? You remember the fun we had when you poisoned me?
Something you ate, the doctor said.
Yes. Yes. Arsenic on the rocks. wives, you're the least agreeable.
But
Of all my wives, you're the least agreeable.
still alive.
Arsenic on the rocks. Arsenic on the rocks. I hear that hanging is very uncomfortable, in case you get any more ideas.
Darling,
Don't let the ghosts and the ghouls disturb you, darling. Don't let the ghosts and the ghouls disturb you, darling.
darling, the only ghoul in the house is you.
Alright, so we've gotten a better introduction of the wife, Abigail, and the very interesting relationship that her and the Vincent Price character have. It's definitely the best part of the movie, their repertoire, their back and forth. I'm going to summon up the next samples, and yeah, just give me an extra second because I forgot to add something that will help with the static of the samples a little bit. So I'm going to get that on and get the next load of samples ready to go.
harder. Once the door is locked, there's
Hands and feet and things like that. Hands and feet and things like that. The funny thing is the head. We found parts of the bodies all over the house. In places you wouldn't think. The funny thing is the heads have never been found. The funny thing is the heads have never been found. Hands and feet and things like that.
The wife, probably in a rage, threatened the husband with a knife. Carried away by hysteria, took a swing at him and simply went on from there.
They whisper ghosts are already moving and that's a bad sign. The ghosts are already moving and that's a bad sign. I advise you to call this party off now. The ghosts are already moving and that's a...
The wife, probably in a rage, threatened her.
The ghosts are already moving and that's a bad sign. The ghosts are already moving and that's a bad sign. coffin.
No phone.
Aside from pleasant company. Aside from pleasant company.
Ghosts.
Your party should be a success.
I think everyone wonders what they would do if there's no electricity. I think everyone wonders what they would do if they saw a ghost.
Amusing. Amusing. Your party should be a success.
That's cheerful. That's cheerful.
4 men have been murdered in this house. And 3 women. 4 men have been murdered in this house. And 3 women.
That's cheerful.
And 3
That's
women.
cheerful.
4 of us are men, 3 are women. Good ghost for everybody. Good ghost for everybody. Good ghost for everybody.
All right. Apologize for the feline interruption, although I imagine it's probably pretty funny to watch, probably the most entertaining part of the stream. I wish that Spicy could be a part of the stream, but she hates the fiddle, and I know that it's screechy. Been playing for a year and a half now, and maybe if anyone's listening, maybe you can relate to Spicy wanting to attack me whenever I play it. But anyway, so continuing our story, we're getting walked in now, walked into the house on Haunted Hill. Let me check the time real quick. So I probably have maybe another 30 minutes or so, and then I'm gonna have to go. I have a wonderful weekend that I'm looking forward to starting. I guess I'm starting it here. Our weekend has officially started, everyone. Spread the news. Anyway, let's get back to our ghostly adventure.
ghosts are coming closer, Mr. Lauren.
That, Mr. Lauren, is hysteria.
Oh, yes.
What did it look like? Nora, when you came in, you said something about a ghost. What did it look like?
It was wearing a black thing that went all the way to the floor.
That, Mr. Lauren, weren't you a little frightened at the time?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
That, Mr. Lauren, is hysteria.
The ghosts are coming closer, Mr. Lauren. The ghosts are coming closer, Mr. Lauren.
But then, Doctor, how do you explain what happened to Lance? Was that hysteria too?
The ghosts are coming closer, Mr. Lauren.
Oh, yes.
But then, Doctor, how do you explain what happened to Lance? Was that hysteria too?
Someone or something was in here when I came in.
Before the night's over, you will too.
You really believe in your pet ghost, don't you, Pritchard?
Before the night's over, you will too.
Someone or something was in here when I came in. And if the door was locked, how did it get out? What you saw might have been a ghost, Nora, but what was in here with me was no ghost.
Schroeder goes over to a chamber wall and starts tapping. And starts tapping.
Sound different to you?
I'm Annabelle Lauren. Were you looking for something?
The ghostly old hag glides across the floor and out the door. The ghostly old hag glides across the floor and out the door.
I'm Annabelle Lauren. Were you looking for something?
Not exactly. Not exactly.
Annabelle Lance.
She walks across the room and sits on the edge of the bed. Smiling at him, she opens the door and goes in. Smiling at him, she opens the door and goes in.
Lance. Lance.
Schroeder comes in and ambles over to her.
Lance.
Look, what's going on here anyway? I mean,
I need help. May I count on you? Lance. Lance.
look, what's going on here anyway? I mean, what is with this party bit? Your husband?
This is no party. He's planning something. This is no party. He's planning something. He has a reason for getting us all up here to this dreadful old house. Maybe that's exactly why you're here.
Well, what can he get away with? Well, what can he get away with?
You know, of course, that I'm his fourth wife. You know, of course, that I'm his fourth wife. Oh, he thinks that big money like his can get away with anything. The other two died.
You mean he,
Two girls in their 20s. Oh, his doctor said they died of heart attacks. Two girls. I don't want to join them. The other two died.
You mean he,
Annabelle, you're missing all the fun.
Oh, this is no party. He's planning.
what for? He doesn't
He has a reason for getting us all up here to this dreadful.
Nora Manning was almost killed by a falling chandelier. The pilot bashed.
What for? He doesn't even know us.
The pilot bashed. Annabelle, you're missing all the fun. Annabelle, you're missing all the fun. Nora Manning was almost killed by a falling chandelier. The pilot bashed his head in. you do most men. The pilot bashed his head in.
Two girls.
Annabelle, you're missing all the fun. Nora Manning was almost killed by Nora Manning was almost killed by a falling chandelier. The pilot bashed his head in. Don't you want to go and console him? Don't you want to go and console him? As you do most men. The pilot bashed his head in. As you do most men. Well, what can he get away with? In your fashion. Then your party will really begin. It's almost time to lock up the house. It's almost time to lock up the house. Then your party will really begin. in spite of my wife's faith in my ability to do the impossible. But we will all have to stay in this house until 8 o'clock in the morning.
Darling, haven't you had enough of the silly game?
He opens the lids of 7 miniature coffins.
But we have some party favors for you. But we have some party favors for you.
He opens the lids of 7 miniature coffins.
In these little coffins.
He opens the lids of 7 miniature coffins. He picks one up. Inside each is a handgun. Inside each is a handgun.
You just press down on this lever with your thumb and then by one of you. No. You just press down on this lever with your thumb and then pull the trigger.
Would you care for a sedative?
You see they're loaded. You see they're loaded.
Would you care for a sedative? Would you care for a sedative?
We will all have to stay in this house until 8 o'clock.
Would you care for a sedative?
Get out, all of you!
No, Nora. Bridget, but I am afraid. One of us was mysteriously slugged. One of us was mysteriously slugged.
Get out!
Nora. And one of us is dead. And one of us has been driven to the brink. One of us has been driven to the brink of absolute. And one of us has been driven. One of us has been driven to the brink of absolute hysteria. One of us has been driven to the brink of absolute. One of us has been driven to the brink of absolute hysteria. And one of us is dead.
No.
Do you think your wife killed herself?
No.
Do you think your wife killed herself?
No.
Do you think your wife killed herself?
By one of you.
Do you think...
No. No. No.
Nora, would you care for a sedative?
Get out, all of you! All of you, get out of here! All of you, get out of here! Leave me alone!
But I am afraid.
Just get out of here!
Would you care for a sedative?
In these little coffins.
But I am afraid. Your wife hanged herself.
Nora? Nora?
Your wife hanged herself. And one of us is dead.
By one of you. We were all strangers to your wife.
To deliberately kill someone, you must have a reason.
Suicide. We were all strangers to your wife. Only you had a motive for murder. I'm not such a fool as to hang my wife from a ceiling by a rope.
Why should even a millionaire want to give each of us $10,000? Do you think your wife killed herself? Why should even a millionaire want to give each of us $10,000? To deliberately kill someone, you must have a reason.
What husband hasn't at some time wanted to kill his wife?
Alright, so yeah, Annabelle has been murdered apparently, or she was found hanging, I should say. So, maybe a suicide, but seems like some hanky-panky foul play is maybe at foot. Is Vincent the one responsible? Is he the mastermind? I'll have to find out next time, which unfortunately will probably be Monday, because like I said, I'm going to be gone for the weekend. But everyone, take care, have a nice weekend. I plan on having an exceptional weekend, and I'll see you next time to pick up and continue the story of the house on Haunted Hill.